Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 update by Heerak. Um, yeah, today is August 19th, 2020, and it's the third day of the Democratic National Convention. But I didn't really get to see anything today because I got an email um, on about class ring, you know. So I started, surfing Jocelyn's website, to see which class ring I want for myself. As you know, I graduated from Georgetown University Clinical Leader Master's Program. Um, so that's August 2020 graduation. And it's kind of like a tradition to get a class ring after typical program. I didn't get a high school graduation ring, because I was going to University of Pennsylvania. I figured I could wait. I did get a bachelor's class ring from University of Pennsylvania. It's nice, I've worn it many times. Class rings last you a lifetime. Um, and I finished with Georgetown University's master's program in clinical nurse leader. And it's a very difficult program, 365 days a year for 2 years. So, it's a sense of accomplishment, and I'm sure everybody's getting a ring, you know. So I was just looking through that, and, and on Jocelyn's website, you can design your own ring, so I could kind of hook designing that, you know, designing the ring and everything, you know. So you see the ring there. It's one of my choices. I really like it, but I'm not 100% like decided on it. Um, yeah, I have some other options, but that's like this is like my top three, one of my top three, right? It's nice. You have the Masters of Science nursing there, and then you have clinical nurse leader. Uh, I couldn't fit in like clinical nurse leader. I could only fit in nurse leader. So, um, or put it as, or fit in clinical nurse, but nurse leader sounds better. So I put that in there. Oh, it looks nice, right? My birth stone, April, is like white. And I'm like, I'm not gonna put a white stone in there. It looks like fake plastic, So yeah, so I kind of substituted for like a blue stone there. Yeah, I like it, email me and let me know what you think. If you like it, if you don't like it, you may sway my decision in getting my class ring. I guess I could feel a little bit like what women feel when they're shopping for their wedding gowns. You know, you know. I guess you go through different wedding gowns and you decide, right? Um, yeah, I mean, it's nice. So yeah, if you got your bachelor's degree from a university and you are in this area, Virginia's 8th district, 9th, 11th district, 10th district, and you don't have a job. Most people don't have a job right now. Most people graduate from college don't have a job. It doesn't matter if you graduate from Harvard University. It doesn't matter if you graduate from Stanford University. It doesn't matter if you graduate from Yale University. Um, yeah, most people don't have a job right now. So it's really sad. But it's going to be this way for next several years because COVID-19 restrictions stay. It's not going away. And you get COVID again and again and again. So you may die, even if you're 18, you may die in the future. Probably the safest place to be right now for you is in the U.S. Army. The U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Marines, U.S. Coast Guard. That's probably the safest place where you can be. Because they test you, they quarantine you if you have it, they take care of you because they need soldiers to live, So you got like top of the line medical care. They test you every day. Not like universities, they test you like when you come in and they don't test you, they can end up dying. But yeah, in the military, they test you like every day. So probably the military is the safest place for you to be right now. And also, if you enlist in the military, they'll pay you, and then you could save up,
I earned my bachelor's degree in business administration
yeah,
at ECPI University.
yeah, you could earn your bachelor's degree at ECPI. you won't have a job in this market. That proves my point. I'm glad that I got to point that out. Yeah, bachelor's degree mean jack right now. Yeah, you're not gonna get any job with a bachelor's degree in anything, unless it's like engineering, because everybody needs engineers. Like country, you can work for the federal government, your local government, state government. Everybody needs engineers. So you have a job. Any engineering degree, you have a job. Um, Computer science, obviously, you have a job. Nursing, pharmacy, any healthcare industry, physical therapy, optometry, you have a job, for that. Anything that's related with healthcare. Um, but other than that, you're not going to have a job. Let's say you graduate from a bachelor's, from Harvard, from English major. When there's no COVID-19 and there are a lot of jobs, you can get a job somewhere. But it's not normal time. It's a COVID-19 America. So if you're not planning to major in like engineering or healthcare sciences or, you know, like healthcare sciences meaning like being a nurse, doctor, pharmacist, optometrist, physical therapist, something that you actually have to do, not like policy. You're not going to have a job with a policy major, like healthcare policy. You're not going to have a job because they're reducing jobs that don't involve actual, taking care of patients. Yeah, so you know, but if you have like if you get accepted to a program like nursing, physical therapy, pharmacy, occupational therapy, things like that, um, optometry or whatever, those things you have a job, but not like healthcare policy. You're not gonna have a job. Nobody's gonna hire you because there's a lot of people with healthcare policy degrees. They don't need anymore, and every government is reducing jobs. Every federal government, every agency, every hospital is reducing jobs. They're going to be firing first people with like healthcare policy degrees. Yeah, so if you got accepted to like a healthcare policy degree, healthcare maintenance, public policy, yeah, worthless degree. You do 4 years of that, you're not going to have a job because COVID-19 is going to continue for 4 years, 10 years, 20 years. So if you got accepted to like a healthcare maintenance program, healthcare policy, public policy, political science, history, English, sociology, literature, yeah, your 4 years of college degree is worthless. You're not going to get a job with that. So it's better not to go to college. Just go enlist in the U.S. military, like U.S. Army, U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Marines. Um, that's the best way to go for you. If you got accepted to a program, bachelor's program in like English, history, sociology, degrees, psychology, degrees that's not going to get you any jobs. Yeah, just go join the military 4 years later. After serving in the military for 4 years, they'll pay for your college. Maybe they'll have a vaccine by then. And you could study what you want, and 4 years of military, you can figure out what you exactly want as well to study in college, and you're getting paid, and and you're gonna be physically fit because 4 years you have to do physical exercise, right? That's the best chance. Yeah, if you got accepted to like nursing or like occupational therapy, pharmacy, yeah, go do your bachelor's program because you have a job. Um, if you got accepted to into engineering degree, any engineering, go do your bachelor's online. Don't go to college because you don't want to die. Yeah, stay at home where it's safe and do your degree online. Don't go to college. Because you don't want to die. What good is a bachelor's if you're dead, right? So don't go to college. Just do it at your home online. If your university requires that you come to college, tell them, you want leave of absence and find the college that will let you do 100% online, like Georgetown University. You don't want to die, Yeah, it's not worth it. There are a lot of colleges that are doing 100% online, like Harvard's doing 100% online if you got in. Georgetown's doing 100% online, Uh, George Washington University is doing 100% online. So find one of these universities where you don't have to risk your life going to campus and dying. So just tell the university that you were originally going to go to, that you just want to take a leave of absence or whatever, and you could always transfer credits in as well. You could like take a leave of absence, take 1 year of community college courses and fulfill the requirements and transfer the credits in. So yeah, don't go physically to campus and die if they require you to come, you know. If they let you do it online, yeah, you could do it, right? Northern Northern Virginia Community College, it's 100% online, and you could take courses there, fulfill your freshman requirements at like most colleges. So yeah, just do that if you want to, you know. I think it's still better to join the military, like because it's a peaceful time. There's no wars, so it's a cakewalk for you. There's no war. They're gonna take care of you. Like they're gonna make sure you're not gonna die. You're a soldier, so you're gonna get free food, free lodging, rigorous exercise schedule where you're gonna be physically fit. You have your six pack. You get paid. I mean, what more do you want? Yeah. And don't go to college. I mean, right now is not the time to go to college because you're not going to have a job 4 years later with a college degree in English or history or sociology or psychology. You're not going to have a job. This America, you got to remember, America has fundamentally changed. It's no longer the same. Yeah, so 2020 America is not like America 2 years ago, where people just go to college to like discover themselves. Oh, I get a college degree, I get a job. No, you're not going to get a job with a college degree. There are so many people who graduate from colleges this year who don't have a job. There will be a lot of people graduating next year, 2021, they won't have a job. A year after that, 2020, they won't have a job. You get the point, right? COVID-19 is killing a lot of people. It's closing down a lot of stores. Nobody's hiring new people. They're firing people. Your parents may get laid off. And this is a very serious concern you should have if you're in Virginia's 8th District. Your father and mother can be laid off from their job. If they work for a company, yeah, they could be laid off or fired. Because companies are going bankrupt, this is not time to like go to college and pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars of tuition. Like if your mother and father have to actually pay for it. And most people from Virginia's 8th District, parents will have to actually pay for it. Your parents could get unemployed this year, and they could be unemployed for the next 5, 10 years. Yeah, this is COVID-19 America. There's no guarantee jobs are going to be created. And COVID-19 is not going away, in America at least. And, in China, nobody's dying, but in America, we have over 1,000 people dying every day. It's not going away in America. How are you going to stop all these deaths? So for the next 4 years, don't think that it's going to go away. It's not. So that's to say your college degree is worthless unless you're majoring in like engineering or healthcare sciences, but not just any healthcare sciences, but like nursing, occupation, like degrees where you have to go and work with patients, because hospitals are not going to hire you if you study like healthcare policy, healthcare maintenance. Nobody cares about that, in COVID-19. Hospitals are losing money. They have to fire people. And the first people they'll fire are people who don't work directly with patients. So yeah, if you're accepted to like, bachelor's in healthcare policy, don't worthless degree. Yeah, just don't go because you don't have money to throw away. And if your mom and dad get fired from their job, then you have to chip in. Let's be honest here. Anything could happen. And if your parents are living paycheck to paycheck, that's like most people in America. And in Northern Virginia, most people are living paycheck to paycheck. If your parents get fired, they won't be able to make mortgage payments. You may be evicted from your home. Yeah. Doesn't matter if your parents were making $200,000 before COVID-19. They lose their job, they're not going to get a job again in COVID-19 America. So if you just graduate from like Wakefield High School, Washington and Lee High School, these high schools in Arlington County, Alexandria City Public Schools, Falls Church City Public Schools, Fairfax County Public Schools, this is not time to waste your parents' money. You need to chip in if you're 18. You need to start working, even if you're 17. If you have a high school diploma, I would encourage you to join the military. It's the smartest move right now. You get paid, you get fit. They'll take care of you, your health and everything. They'll feed you, they'll house you. There's one less person to worry about for your parents. Um, you know, obviously, if your parents are over 40, they have a risk that they could die. So you could be at home helping them. But they may lose their jobs, in which case the priority for them is like financial survival. So if you're in the military, you can chip in. You're less. Parents don't have to pay for your car and all your stuff. So you're not a burden financially for them. At 18, you should be supporting yourself anyway. So you go to the military, you chip in. If your parents lose their job, you kind of help them out a little bit. If they don't lose their job, you could like start saving in your bank account. For the next 4 years, you can save your money. Because right now you go to college, you're not going to have any job when you graduate 4 years from now. If COVID-19 still is here and there's no vaccine, no cure, there's high chance that there will be no vaccine that totally works, and that there will be no cure that actually works. So, which means 4 years later, you're not going to have a job even if you do 4 years of online bachelor's degree in English major, you're not going to have a job. It's a worthless degree. It's a waste of 4 years of your life. Um, yeah, you gotta shift your thinking to COVID-19 America. We don't live in a pre-COVID-19 America anymore. We live in COVID-19 America. So things that people used to do, like your older brother and your older sister used to do, that no longer applies. Yeah, we're in complete different reality now. So you need to adapt to the new reality if you want to survive. So if you are accepted to, like Harvard for English major, worthless. I mean, don't throw it away in case there's a cure discovered. Just defer your admissions for 1 year. Join the military. Don't tell Harvard you're joining the military, but just defer it for 1 year, and then a year later, if there's still COVID, you could defer for another year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, but don't. Yeah, do something useful that's going to give you a way to support your family, yourself, and survive economically in the future. And that you're not going to be able to do that with a bachelor's in English major or bachelor's in history major. I mean, I was a bachelor's in history major at University of Pennsylvania, so I like history major. But I want to help you and your family, That's why I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. This is COVID-19 America. I'm not going to lie to you. Every one of you can lose your job in Virginia's 8th District. It's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Okay? So if you haven't been cut from your job, well, great, congratulations. But, during the flu season, we're going to have thousands of people dying in Virginia's 8th District. Companies are going to go belly up left and right. You won't be able to even keep up. You're going to get fired. A lot of you in Virginia's 8th District will be fired. And you will not be able to make mortgage payments. This is not the time to buy the new iPhone. Because let's say you get fired and your wife gets fired from your job, and you're getting paid $150,000 a year. Your wife's getting paid $150,000 a year. 300,000. You're not going to have that income anymore. You will have unemployment, for 6 months. After that, you're on your own. You're not going to have a job afterwards. If you own your own company, you're in better luck because no one can fire you, but your own company can go belly up. This is COVID-19 America. This is not time to buy a new iPhone, new computer, new car. This is not that time. Unless you have like over $30 million in the bank. If you have around $2.7 million in the bank, I will not buy anything new because you don't know how long COVID-19 is going to last. And $2.7 million in the bank may not help you survive with your wife, yourself, your children in the next 10 years. That may not be enough. Because you got to presume that your daughter who just graduated from high school and is 18, she's not going to have a job. Right? You have to presume that. Your son who is in college right now, freshman, majoring in English, he's not going to have a job when he graduates. And you may still be paying his tuition, like $40,000 a year. So anything less than like 20 or $30 million in the bank account in cash, I'm not talking about stocks because you could lose everything. You need about 20, 30 million in cash in the bank. Because stock market, you cannot trust, it could completely bankrupt. anything could happen. So I would take money out of stocks, put it in like money market or securities, things that cannot go become zero if stock market crashes. It's not time to play the market. Um, it's not time for your children to go to college unless they're going to college to do something that's going to give them a job, like engineering, computer science. Yeah, there's no point going to college right now. This is COVID-19 America. Yeah, when America was doing well, when you had job security, yeah, you can send your kids to college. You could, it's socialization process, blah 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 blah. But we're not living in that era. You are fighting for your livelihood. You are fighting for your survival, and your children don't really know what's going on yet because they've been in high school. You know the world. You've been in the corporate world. You've been working. You know how the world is. And let's say if you have three children, one child who just graduated from high school, one child in freshman year in college, one child sophomore in college, you have three children. Each one of them may cost you about $50,000 per person because they won't have a job, right? They're not going to have a job. Unless you own your own company, you can't give them a job. But you still have to pay for their stuff. Like they have to get married at some point. Um, yeah, so there's some serious problems in your future, not just with you and your wife, but every single one of your children. They're not going to have a job. If they major in history at Harvard, they're not going to have a job. They major in English at Yale, they're not going to have a job. They're not going to have a job. Your children who got law degrees, they're not going to have a job. They're not going to have a job with a law degree from Harvard because nobody's hiring. Law firms are not hiring anybody. So yes, you might have gone to Stanford, got 4.0. You went to Harvard Law School, graduate summa cum laude with 4.0. No one is hiring. Your child is not going to have a job. You have to support them. So Virginia's 8th district, Virginia's 10th district, Virginia 11th district, which are the closest here, where I am in Arlington, $2.7 in cash in the bank is not enough to survive next 10 years. It's not. You need at least 20 to 30 million in cash to survive 10 years. And we can't guarantee what's going to happen after that. Yeah. And majority of the people haven't paid off their houses yet. You know what I'm saying? So, you have your mortgage payments you're paying and you're counting on you and your wife having a job. And your previous assumption is, well, if something happens in my company, I could always find a job somewhere else. Yes, that was true in 2019 America, but we're not in 2019 America. We are in COVID-19 America. What that means is if you lose your job, you're not going to have a job ever. Ever. You're not going to be able to find a job anywhere in America. That's where you are. And you're going to go out and buy a new iPhone? Are you kidding me? Are you crazy? If you don't have $30 million in cash, not like in stocks and bonds, bonds, it's okay, but stocks, if you have 30 million stocks, you got to cash that in. Because you don't know when the stock market's going to crash. Everybody knows it's inflated. So it's going to deflate at some point. No one knows when that's going to happen. So right now you need about 20 to 30 million dollars in cash to survive next 10 years. You have to make all the payments while nothing is coming in. Your children, all your three children, will not have a job. That's like 99% guaranteed. If they are majoring in history, English, sociology, majors that a lot of rich kids major in, at Harvard and Yale. They're not going to have a job. And whereas when you and your wife used to make hundreds of thousands of dollars each, yeah, it was okay, but it's not okay anymore. Yeah, so don't buy anything. You need to go like zero purchases right now. Yeah, until you have a vaccine, until there's a cure, you don't know what's going to happen. We may never have a vaccine. We may never have a cure. Until you are sure the vaccine is working, you need to save your money and not spend it. I mean, are you kidding me? Do you want to be homeless? Do you want to be evicted from your home? Um, there can be a lot of other emergency that may come. What if you discover that your wife has cancer? You have to pay for cancer treatments. You see what I'm saying? Anything would happen right now. Yeah. So don't be spending any money on anything. Don't be buying anything new. Yeah, this is not the time to spend money. This is time to save and hoard your cash. Cash is king during times of tragedy. Hoard your cash. Don't spend it. Yeah. Yeah. Don't buy your children new clothing. Don't buy anything new ever for the next 10 years. You don't know what's going to happen. You will lose your job. Your wife will lose your job. Both of you will not have a job. Potentially, in the flu season, you may both lose your jobs. A lot of companies will go bankrupt in the flu season. Maybe 20% of America's companies may go bankrupt by Christmas. Yeah, you should be surprised if that happens because, it's COVID-19 in America. What do you expect? People are dying, right? People can't move around. Things have to close down. You think like people could go forever opening stuff? Like if let's say if 20,000 people died in Northern Virginia, do you think everything will be open? You think that's not possible in flu season? Everything can close in Northern Virginia during flu season. 100% of the businesses can close in Northern Virginia in the flu season. If 20, 30,000 people die, 100% of everything can be closed. You don't think this could happen? Yes, it could happen. This is a COVID-19 global pandemic. What do you think this is? Do you think this is like just a seasonal flu, like a common cold? Are you kidding me? This can kill tens of thousands of people in Arlington County alone in the flu season. We don't know. We haven't gone through the flu season to know. Once we go through this flu season, we will know how many people in Arlington County will die. My prediction is we're going to have at least 10,000 just in Arlington County. You know how crowded everything is in Arlington? You know when COVID-19 hits in Arlington, like if you're in an apartment complex, 1/3 of your apartment people can get COVID and die. You know that? You don't know what's going to happen. You know how crowded Arlington is? It's 26 miles, right? And there's like 870,000 people. And most people living in apartment buildings. What do you think is going to happen in these apartment buildings? COVID-19 will spread like wildfire. That's why whenever I step out of my door, I have a mask on. Even if you're careful, you can still get COVID. This is a global pandemic. We don't know what's going to happen. I predict at least 10,000 deaths in Arlington alone, Arlington County alone, because it's so crowded. Everywhere it's crowded. So what? COVID-19 is going to spread like wildfire in Arlington. It's one of the places where a lot of people are going to die, Arlington County. Fairfax County is a little bit more spread out. There are less apartment complexes, more single homes. Like, if you go to Vienna, it's more like mostly single homes. So not as many people are going to die in neighborhoods with single homes. Obviously, because it's harder to get COVID. Because, one family lives in a home, and then there's a yard, and then you have to walk a while to get to the next home. And as long as nobody in your family has COVID, you're not going to get it, right? You're in the same building. Next building over is another family. But apartment buildings are completely different. A lot of families live together in one building. It's like one big house, right? So that's why COVID-19 didn't get spread like wildfire in apartment buildings. So most number of deaths probably will happen in Arlington County and Alexandria, where there are a lot of apartment buildings. So I'm predicting at least 10,000 deaths in Arlington County alone, at least. I won't be surprised if like 30,000 people die in Arlington County, like apartment complex after apartment complex. You read like 20% of the people die from COVID. I won't be surprised because unfortunately this is a pandemic. That's why I'm giving you this warning. I created this show to save your life, right? Why do you think I'm working so hard to shut down all the schools in Arlington County? Because if one person gets COVID in your building and you will not know who got it, it could spread through the whole building. Because it's like one home, it's like one building, it's like one house. Whereas in Vienna, Virginia, one family lives in a one house. So let's say one kid gets COVID, he could spread it to his mom and dad and brother and sister, but it's like one family of five will die. Like all five could die, but two out of five could die. All of them probably will get COVID. But if you live in an apartment building, everybody can get COVID in the apartment building. Everyone. Yeah, they say like COVID-19, let's say you cough on the wall, COVID-19 can stay in the wall for like 72 hours. So you're walking out of your apartment room, build your home, and you walk in the hallway and you put your hand on the wall and somebody coughed on it and that person had COVID, you could get COVID and die. Yes. So don't think that we're out of the woods. We're not out of the woods. We're just entering the woods. We were just kind of walking around the forest now. We are actually now entering the forest. Yes, death is coming and a lot of people are going to die. You have to expect that. You can't avoid it. Obviously, it doesn't give me joy to tell you this, but I created this show to save your life and your lives of your children. I need to tell you this so you know what's coming. You need to prepare. So there are two things you need to prepare right now. Number one, order masks from Amazon or another internet seller. Those surgical masks, right? I showed you what surgical masks are, right? Those masks that nurses wear in the hospital. When you see movies, you know those. So at Amazon, you could buy 50 of those, box of 50. The cheapest it got was in May. You could buy a box for $6, but I think the price has gone up, so the cheapest box may not be $6 anymore. It's going to go up even more during the flu season. It may be like a single box, maybe $50. Because like in March, a box was like $50. Yeah. Yeah, so, supply and demand, right? So I recommend everybody in Arlington, every father, mother, order at least 20 boxes of 50. You're supposed to only use one, per single use. Like in hospital, I mean, you could use one per day if you're just using it when you go outside, but you have to have enough, right? You can always have that for years and years because COVID-19 is like forever. So, don't worry about having too much of it. You have to use it at some point. It's like having toilet paper. You're going to use toilet paper until you die. So even if you buy 1,000 boxes of toilet paper, nothing goes to waste, right? It's not going to rot, right? And you're going to use it because you have to poop. Yeah. So it's not a waste of a toilet paper. Same with surgical masks. COVID-19 is forever. You could buy 1,000 boxes. It's not going to go to waste because like 30 years from now you can still use it. So I would encourage you to order a lot of surgical masks, especially if you're in Arlington. Please order these so you don't kill your neighbors. Yeah. So I'm predicting at least 10,000 people in Arlington would die in the flu season, maybe more than 30,000. I wouldn't be surprised if more than 30,000 died just in Arlington County. I'm not even talking about Alexandria, Falls Church, Fairfax County, just in Arlington County. I won't be surprised if 30,000 people die. Yeah, I mean, have you seen the apartment buildings? You know how thin the walls are? You could hear your neighbors laughing. Yeah, I mean, you think that wall is going to block out COVID-19? What do you think? As a rule of thumb, a wall that cannot block out noise cannot block out viruses. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, there's opening somewhere. It's not like it's 100% foolproof, right? I mean, there's still debate about whether it's airborne or if it's just droplet. Droplet is like if you cough, it just goes 6 feet and then drops. Airborne is like it floats around. It's like in the air. Nobody knows for sure. there's like over 40 different strands. Some strands may be airborne. Some strands may be, uh, you know, like droplet. And nobody knows if, what happens inside a human's body. Like once it gets into human's body, what happens to COVID? Nobody has really done an extensive study on that. So there are a lot of question marks about what COVID-19 is. Is it droplet airborne? Nobody's 100% sure. Um, yeah, so you need to get those masks, okay, to protect your family and yourself from death. Um, Obviously, if you wear it and your neighbor wears it, both of you it's safer for both of you. But let's say if your neighbors doesn't wear it, who you wear, it's not as safe for you or for them. But yeah, go to Amazon, order it. Order like 20 boxes, and each box contains 50 for your home. More the better. If you have more money, order more. Um, yeah, because you shouldn't skimp on things that's going to help you survive COVID-19. You know what I'm saying? I mean, geez, cut down on food. Cut down on like chicken fries. You know, cheeseburger, chili burgers. You know, pizzas. But don't cut down on your masks. Geez, prioritize what's important for saving life. Um, yeah. So the first thing you gotta do is you have to get masks to save your family, your children, and yourself. Um, that's absolutely necessary because flu season is coming, and I'm predicting like at least 10,000, but around 30,000 or more will die in Arlington County alone. As you know, I'm at Virginia Hospital Center, so if you come to Virginia Hospital Center, I'll do my best to save your life. But there's only so much we can do. And I'm predicting that dozens of nurses will die in Virginia Hospital Center. Maybe even like 100 nurses. Because when you have like 30,000 people crowding into the hospital, nurses are going to get COVID and die. So I think that's something that we have to understand that is going to happen. We're not in a hospital that's like in a neighborhood filled with single homes. We're in a neighborhood with all these apartment buildings, which means our hospital will be flooded. And in the beginning of COVID-19 flu season, a hospital is going to fill up. Like maybe in the first month, and the next 5 months, people will just keep dying and dying and dying and dying. So that's something that we can expect in Arlington. Obviously, you don't want that to happen. That's why I created this show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak, to give you guidance so that we could avoid all this, right? But we can't totally avoid it, unfortunately, because we still have COVID cases. We have like 200 cases per day in this area, Northern Virginia area. And, per day. So you can imagine, during flu season, we're going to have thousands of cases in this area. So, yeah. And the second thing you should do is you need to save money because there's high chance that you will be jobless. Your husband will be jobless if you're the mother. Both of you will be jobless. Unless you're a police officer, police officer job has a lot of dangers, but you have job security during crisis situations, right? Because everybody needs police officers. Unless you're in a defund police zone, then you don't have a job because they keep cutting police. But then crime rate goes up, right? Murder rate goes up, And that's happening in Chicago, New York, Philadelphia. But anyway, all these Democrat states, they're such idiots, Who cuts police? How dumb do you have to be? Yeah, but anyway, yeah. If you're a high school senior and if you can join a police department, if they have police departments where you could join police department. If you just graduate from college, join the police department because you have a bachelor's degree, you could join the police. Join fire department because these are departments where you always have a job. Obviously, there's a higher risk that you could die from COVID. So, yeah, so there is that risk. Firemen and police officers, a lot of them will die in flu season. Like NYPD, there's like dozens who die, NYPD police officers, and they only started like what in March, like towards the tail end of flu season. So this year we have a complete flu season, from September to like April, So yeah, we'll have our more police officers dying this time around. A lot of police women, police officers' wives will become widows. Yeah, but what can you do, right? I mean, this is COVID-19. A lot of nurses will become widows. I mean, will die, so their husbands will become widowers. There aren't that many male nurses. I'm one of the few. Um, yeah, I mean, I expect that. As I said, out of 25 of us clinical nurse leader to graduate, and you see on my ring there, um, I'm expecting 5 to 10 to die before Christmas 2020, middle of the flu season. We're already halfway in the flu season at Christmas. Yeah, we have like 4 more months to go from Christmas. 3 or 4 more months to go. I'm predicting 5 of us would die before Christmas. Yeah, 5 out of 25. Um, that's why I want to do a pen, because it's kind of like we're like soldiers in arms about to like go into Normandy. We know some of us who are going to die. We don't know who, but we know some are going to die. We just don't know who's going to die. But out of 25, at least 5 are going to die. That's like 100% guaranteed. So CNL 2020, CNL 2020, Georgetown University Clinical Nurse Leaders, yay! We were pinned in May. Our pins are arriving in September, yay! Amanda Patterson, our administrative assistant at the nursing school. She's like our program like organizer or like coordinator in clinical nurse leader program, and she's doing her MBA at Georgetown. So she's like, really, she has a bright future. Although not too many MBAs are going to have a job when they graduate, but she's at Georgetown, so she could probably like get a better job at Georgetown, or if there are no other jobs at outside of Georgetown, because Georgetown's going to keep operating, and it's a major university, So yeah, so she doesn't have to worry. But people who are getting MBA degrees, they don't have a job right now. They won't have a job next year either. Yeah, and all that student loan to pay back, they're not going to have a job. It's sad. But anyway, yeah. So Amanda's sending us our pins, and she emailed us. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to receiving my pin. Yeah, 25 of us are as well, clinical nurse leaders. We're master's level students. They're bachelor's of science and nursing students. There are 26 who graduated, and they will graduate in May. And they're, I guess, receiving the pin at the same time that we are, because Amanda handles all that. Yeah, so yeah, so yeah, I mean, out of the 26 bachelor's of science and nursing graduates, I'm sure 5 or 6 to 10 will die from there too. If you have asthma, pre-existing conditions, like diabetes or heart condition or allergic to like peanuts, there's high chance you're gonna die, during the flu season. And you know who you are. But even if you don't have pre-existing condition, if you get COVID-19, you could die. So it's a toss-up. We don't know who's gonna die. But at least 5 are gonna die from our clinical nurse leader program. Yeah, I mean, it's sad. I don't want this to happen, but I'm a realist. I know it's going to happen. Yeah, but the most dangerous people in America are people who are living in apartment complexes, because you're headed toward death. People who live in apartment complexes will be the first people to die in Northern Virginia. I'm trying to tell you to buy a mask and wear it. So I'm trying to prevent this from happening. Everybody should be wearing a mask. When they step out of their door, they should be wearing a mask. It protects you, it protects other people. Who knows who's been around the hallway coughing and stuff like that? Who knows? You don't know. Yeah. I mean, when you step out from your home, better have that mask on, before you step out. Yeah. No one knows if this is airborne or contact. Nobody's 100% sure. World Health Organization said, we're pretty sure it's not airborne, but we're not sure. You know what I'm saying? And these are the experts in the world. Which means it's better to be safe than sorry. Yeah. If I don't believe the liberal media, if the liberal media tells you that there's going to be a vaccine, don't believe them. Because they're liberal media. They lie. You know, until there's a vaccine that's working and proved to work, don't believe any promises they make. You know how like some boys make promises just to get you in bed with them, to have sex with them? Don't trust them until you have your ring on the finger. Well, if the boy loves you, he's gonna marry you. If he's not willing to marry you, he doesn't really love you. So don't have sex with that guy because all the sweet talk he's making, promises worth jack. Don't believe the liberal media. Don't believe your boyfriend when he says, "Oh, I love you, let's have sex." Because he may drop you like a stone once you have sex. That's how guys are, you know. Guys get bored with women once they have sex with them. That's how guys are. You know, guys respect women until they have sex. Once they have sex, they stop respecting the women. That's how men are. I mean, you know, I say this to you. I tell the truth. For all you Generation Z out there who just graduated from high school, do not believe your boyfriend when he says he loves you. If he's not willing to marry you, he doesn't love you. It's very simple as that. Yeah, there is no love without ultimate commitment. If your boyfriend's not willing to marry you, he doesn't love you. I'm a guy, I know. And I'm an alpha male. I've dated a lot of beautiful women. Men follow me wherever I go. You know, yeah. So I know how men think. And you men know I'm telling the truth. If you really love the woman, you will marry her. There is no man who will not marry the woman he's 100% sure he loves. If he's not willing to marry, that means he doesn't love you 100%. There's a doubt. Yeah, it's very, very simple. A man generally do not tell you like totally honestly because they want to have a room to escape, right? They don't want to be bound to you. They don't want to be married to you. So they're not going to commit to you. Like they're not going to make themselves vulnerable. Like put them in a spot, you know? Do not have sex with your boyfriend until you have a ring on your finger if you don't want to get hurt. Because a boy who loves you will marry you and be willing to wait for you before having sex. If you have sex with the boy, the moment he has sex with you, he will not respect you. It's all guys. Don't ask your dad because it's an uncomfortable conversation for fathers with their daughters. Yeah, but I tell you, you know, yeah, that's 100% true. Especially those of you whose mother got divorced, failed in marriage. I'm telling you as it is. You're lucky that I'm here to tell the truth. So you're not going to have your heart broken and you're not going to be miserable the rest of your life. Get the guy to get you a ring before you give him sex. He's not going to respect you once he has sex with you. 100% guaranteed. It's like all men. Doesn't matter if he's Latino. It doesn't matter if he's Asian. It doesn't matter if he's Christian. If it doesn't matter if he's non-Christian. It doesn't matter if he's white. It doesn't matter what black. It doesn't matter what race he is. Men are men everywhere in the world. Yeah. And we're born. We know this. We don't have to even talk about it. Every man knows. Obviously, if you're a woman, you don't know because you're not a man. Yeah. If a guy loves you, he will marry. If he truly loves you, he will marry you without thinking. If he's thinking that he doesn't love you 100%, he may love you like 80%, but if he loves you 80%, he could always leave you. Don't forget that. Even if he loves you 100%, he can leave you. Guys are just idiots. Guys are just, you know, guy could abandon a woman anytime. That's why you got to get a ring on him. Just put him on a short leash. You know, because guys are like dogs. You know, they sniff every dog butt. Where, like in a typical walk, the male dog will sniff like 5 different women's female dog butts. That's how guys are. Yeah. You have a typical guy walking, will sniff like 5 different women's butt, you know, so to speak, metaphor. Yeah. So, yeah, if your boyfriend, you know, loves you, he will marry you. If he doesn't want to marry you, then he doesn't love you. Very simple. No, seriously. You know, And this is, I'm going to say this to Generation Y, you millennials there. If you're living with a guy, ask him, let's get married. If he says no, that means he doesn't love you 100%. It's very simple. Male world is not complicated. Men's world is not complicated. We make deals, right? It's like making a deal. Guy says to another guy, hey, I'll give you, I'll give you this sticker for this sticker. Other guys say, hey, no, man, you gotta give me like a magnifying glass with this sticker. Then I'll give you my sticker. They're like, fine, let's shake on it. The deal happens. That's the men's world. Once we agree to it, deal is a deal. Same with, that's how guys think. That's how guys are. So if the guy is going to marry you, and he says he's going to marry, he may have doubts. As long as you force him to keep his word, he will. Smart woman forces their husband or man to keep their word. Because that's what we do in men's world. When a man gives his word, he may have doubts, but we tell him, you gave me your word. So keep your promise. Do what you said you're going to do. That's all you have to say. There's no guy in the world who will not do what he said he's going to do. Male world is very simple. Women's world is kind of complicated. Man's world is very simple. If he gives you his word, he's going to do it. He's bound by it. Every man in the world agrees that he must do it. That's how simple man's world is. If the man says, I don't want to marry you yet, or I don't want, that means he doesn't love you yet. Like, he doesn't love you 100%. He may love you like 60%. But he doesn't believe that you're the one. That's how you know. Like, Generation Y, you should not be living with your guy boyfriend, obviously, before you get married. But if you are, just do this simple test. Ask him, let's get married. And he's like, well, I'm not ready yet. That means he doesn't love you 100%. He may lie to you. He may be like, oh, what's a piece of paper going to do? I love you the way it is, blah, blah, blah. No, in the back of his mind, he thinks he could do better than you. That's why he's not marrying you. Because for a man, it's like making a deal. Like, he made a deal to live with you and use you as a slut, as his whore, personal whore, to have sex with every night. He doesn't have to pay for a prostitute, which he might have to do if you were his personal free whore. So in his mind, he's like, life is good. My girlfriend is a whore. She's going to give me sex every night. I don't even have to marry her. We even split the rent. It's not like I pay the rent. Like, that's how guys are thinking. We're splitting the rent. She's giving me free sex. Like, just free sex per shot is like $100 or more. So we have sex 30 days a month. I'm like making $3,000. That's how guys are thinking. That's how guys think. And she's paying half the rent. So the rent is like $2,000. She's paying $1,000. That's $1,000 I don't have to pay. I get free sex, and she kind of helps clean out. I don't have to pay anybody to clean the place. You know what I'm saying? This life is good. I'm not married to her. I could always walk away. That's how guys think. So if you're a chump, if you're a hoe, if you're a Generation Y hoe, millennial hoe, who's giving your guy free sex, excuse me. Well, life is good for him, just, your biological clock is ticking. He'll probably not marry you. He'll probably dump you after he has good use of you. Guys are like that. Guys like new cars. Guys like to trade in their car, get a new car, Yeah, that smell of that brand new leather, your boyfriend will have sex with you, just like use you during your best years of your life, and then throw you away after 26. You're not going to be marriageable after that. You're like a spinster. Nobody will want to marry you, because you'll have like cottage cheese legs, and then your boyfriend's going to upgrade up, to somebody who's like 22. So he's going to probably do the same thing with her if she's stupid enough to let him do that. Yeah. I mean, Generation Y women who let their boyfriends have sex with them and live with them without marrying them, you're the one who's stupid. I mean, in the male world, we have a word for that. You know, uh, why buy the cow when you can have milk for free? Yeah, who doesn't like free stuff? Yeah, I mean, if the Generation Y millennial women are so stupid to give us free sex without charging anything, they are free whores. I mean, they're whores, but they're free. You know, and there's like all kinds of things happening with like chlamydia and blah blah blah. Oh, we could just have sex with our personal whore. Personal whores are more expensive than like whores that who lend their services to many people. If the millennial Y girl is stupid enough to give her body freely for sexual pleasure for 2-3 years, yeah, just get mileage out of it and dump her. That's how guys think. Yeah, that's why your boyfriend's thinking right now. Why do you think he doesn't want to marry you? One, he doesn't respect you. Two, he's worried like if he marries you, you, you know, you'll give it up to another guy. He doesn't trust you. That's why he doesn't want to marry you. Yeah. Every man, when he's madly in love, he will want to marry the woman. It's biologically programmed in. Yeah. So if your boyfriend doesn't want to marry them, means he doesn't love you. Cut your losses and leave. While you can, because your body's not getting younger. After 26, you're like spinster. Like you're a loser woman. Yeah. If you're not married by 26, you're a loser. There's nothing else to describe it. That's how all the men think. Millennial men, Generation X men. Generation Z men, baby boomer men, all men think you're a loser. If you're not married, you're like 26, 27, you're like sleeping with God, giving sex for free. I mean, jeez. This is why men in America have no respect for women because they whore themselves, they give men free sex without marrying. We're like, geez, they must be really stupid, these women. That's why men in America do not have respect for women in America. Yeah, because you bring this upon yourself. You whore yourself to your boyfriend. Why would he respect you? Why would he respect you? Think about it. You're giving him sex for free. You're getting nothing in return. Why would he respect you? I mean, from a man's perspective, why would he respect the woman who's giving him free sex for nothing? That's not money for nothing, women for free. That's like mainstream, It's like, yeah, American women are so stupid. They're going to give sex for free, live with me and clean my apartment, pay half my rent. These American women are stupid. That's how men think. And men are like, man, these women are stupid because they think like when I want to live with them, I'm making a commitment. I just want free sex. You know what I'm saying? I just want the woman to pay half the rent. Life is good for men in America because, millennial women are so stupid. That's what most millennial men think. Yeah, they're not going to say it, obviously. Well, why get rid of a good thing when you have it, right? But I want to help you, so I'm going to tell you the truth. No man who is not willing to marry you is 100% in love with you. Doesn't matter if he lives with you. It doesn't matter if he lied to you and said he loves you madly, deeply. He just doesn't. Yeah. I'm going to tell the truth because you may die of COVID-19 before Christmas. You should know. Yeah, you should know. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry to break the news to you, but, it's life. It's your fault. You decide to have sex with him, give him sex for free like a whore. That's your fault. You made your decision, right? To be a personal whore of your boyfriend, charging him nothing. You even pay 50% of the rent. Anyway, yeah. So, yes. Yesterday, we had 1,316 deaths in 24 hours. Today, we have 1,317 deaths. Oh, excuse me. Oh, flu season is coming. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, flu season is coming, you guys. Yeah. So, yeah, yesterday, you can watch yesterday's show. We had 1,316 deaths in 24 hours. 24 hours from yesterday's show to now, we had 1,317 Americans die. In China, there's 0 death and 17 cases. We have like 50,000 cases in America. So confirmed cases today, August 19th, is at 5,528,493. Confirmed deaths are at 173,125, 3% death rate. But misery wants company, and Latin America is not doing so good. And Brazil may actually beat us, which is incredible, Brazil is like rushing to beat us, is that amazing? So Latin America, Latin America is becoming continent of COVID death. I feel so bad for Latinos. We're gonna have so many Latinos die in America in the flu season. It's not even funny because they're genetically the same, right? Like Latinos in America are biologically the same, like DNA. So if all those people would die in Latin America, all the Latinos in America could die. We could have like over 1 million Latinos die in America. Yeah, I feel bad for Latinos because so many of them are gonna die. Look at that. Look at Latin America and see how many people are dying in Latin America. That proves a lot of Latinos are gonna die in America. They're genetically the same blood, same DNA, same genes. Yeah. There's going to be so many Latinos dying in the flu season. It's not even going to be funny. We're going to have like over 1 million Latinos die in 50 states. It's going to be tragic. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely tragic. Now, if you're a Latino parent, man, keep your kids inside, You got to practice keeping your kids inside because, death is everywhere. Yeah, I'm just trying to look out for you and your family here. As you know, I created this show to save you and your family from COVID-19 death and other things that are happening in COVID-19 America. So obviously you do what you want. I'm just trying to save you and your children's lives. I recommend you just kind of, follow the recommendation, Yeah, so Brazil is number 1. And there are 3,456,652 cases. They're catching up. Their death is 111,100. A lot of deaths in Brazil. But look at Peru. Like it beat Mexico. And it's 549,321 cases, 26,658 deaths. 5% are dying. So Peru's kind of catching up. And it's a serious problem. Mexico, number 3, dropped down 1 place, 537,031 cases, but their death is 11% rate. So they have far more deaths, 58,481. It's like Arlington County in the winter during flu season. We'll probably have like 11%, 20% death rate once Virginia Hospital Center fills up. And once like dozens of nurses from Virginia Hospital Center dies, yeah, we'll have like 11 to 20% death. Out of those people who get COVID-19. Yeah, watch, it's logic, right? If dozens of nurses die in Virginia Hospital Center, there's going to be a shortage of nurses. We can't take care of all the patients. So more patients are going to die, right? And if like a lot of people get COVID because Arlington has all these apartment buildings, right? logically, not everybody can have a ventilator. They're going to die because they can't have a ventilator. They could have lived if they had a ventilator, but there's no room in the hospital. Too many people are getting COVID. Why do you think I'm telling you to get masks and wear it when you step out? There's more cases, less chance you're going to have to survive. Yeah, there's limited resources in the world. It's a zero-sum game. It's not like there's unlimited number of PPE. There's limit on how many there are. Yeah. Colombia has 489,122 cases, is number 4, and the death is 15,619, 3% death rate. Chile is 390,037 cases, 10,579 deaths. Yeah, right now China is not, they have 0 death, 17 cases. Let me count that for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There are only 17 Chinese people in the whole country of China who got COVID in 24 hours. 17. China has 1.2 billion people, 4 times America population size. 17 people got COVID in the last 24 hours. Look at us. 0 death. Look at us. 1,317. We're not China. China could do whatever it wants. There's no COVID there, basically. But look at us. We're going to die. Millions of us are going to die in flu season. Because this is summer. It's middle of August, and we have 1,317 people dying. In Christmas time, you're going to have tens of thousands of people dying every day in flu season. Just watch. If you have like 30,000 people dying in each major city, like New York, and each state has more than one city, right? In Virginia, we have Richmond is a big city. We have Virginia Beach is a big city, right? Norfolk is a big city, right? We have a lot of big cities. But let's just say 2 big cities have 30,000 people dying in the flu season. That's 60,000 people, right? There are 50 states who have 3 million people dead in America. 3 million people will die if 2 cities per state has 30,000 people dying per city. And as we know, 30 people died in New York. So expect minimum 3 million deaths in America during flu season. And that will definitely happen. And there's no doubt. I mean, I'm predicting we'll have like 12 million to 25 million people die in the flu season. If we're not careful. Obviously, I created this show to reduce the number of deaths. We cannot avoid death. Death will happen. That's 100% guaranteed. I'm just trying to reduce the number. China has 0 death and 17 cases. Let me count that for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's it. The whole country, there are 17 cases. And all of those 17 cases, they are quarantined. They're like locked away so they can spread it to anybody. Every single one of those 17 people are locked in. And they do contact tracing, they quarantine everybody. And in celebration of China being COVID-free, basically, no one's going to die in China, probably in the flu season. No one, 0. In America, we're going to have 1 million dying per month. Don't you think this is upsetting? Obviously, I'm trying to save your life. I've been trying to save your life since April 2nd when I created this show. Are you listening to me? Is President Trump listening to me? Are the Democrats listening to me? I tell Governor Ralph Northam in Virginia to close down all the colleges and go 100% online. Does he listen to me? I tweeted him again for the third time. I mean, I tweeted to him more than once, but like this is the third different day that I tweeted to him. I tweeted before several days ago, and then several days before that, and I said you need to close the schools down, colleges down, require issue an executive order, and the Virginia Democrat Governor Northam doesn't want to save your life. All you have to do is listen to me, and we'll reduce the death. But are you going to listen to me, Governor Northam? No. That's why people are going to die in Virginia. The blood and death of college towns in Virginia is in your head, Governor Northam, because you can't enjoy the money that you make if you die in these college towns. I understand your logic, Governor Northam, but you can't enjoy the money you make if you die. You can't take money with you to hell. Like if you vote Democrat, you want to go to hell, as I've shared. This Democratic Party kills little babies in abortion and supports gay marriage, which God hates. So if you vote Democrat, you're definitely going to hell. So I'm going to talk about you going to hell when you die, because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm coming at you from the Bible standpoint. And from the Bible standpoint, everybody who votes Democrat will go to eternal damnation in hell, because you are supporting to kill little babies in abortion. God's not going to let you into heaven. You're supporting gay marriage, which God hates, as clearly seen in Romans 1. You're not going to go to heaven. Yeah, so vote Democrat. When you die of COVID, you're going to go to hell. If that's what you want to do. I encourage you not to vote Democrat, but you do what you want. I'm just going to tell you what's in the Bible, so you know what it is. You know the risk you're taking. If you want to take the risk, go right ahead. When Georgia wanted to open up, I said in this show, and you can watch this show in April, Georgia can open up, but if it open up, more people are going to die. Was I right or was I right? I was right. I am right here too, Governor Northam. A lot of people in Virginia are going to die because you refuse to listen to Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, calling on you to issue an executive order to every single college in Virginia to go 100% online. You're not listening. So now Virginians are going to die in large numbers, and their blood is in your head. Yeah, I'm trying to save the lives of Virginians because I care about Virginians. That's why I'm running for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. I want to save lives of Virginians. I march for life. I'm pro-life. I march for life for Virginians. But apparently, Governor Northam doesn't care. It's sad. Yeah. So in celebration of zero death, I'm sharing photos of my Chinese friends. Cedric, she's really beautiful. She's really smart and nice. And so I'm glad I could spend some time with her in the beginning of the year. Cedric's friend, and Cedric, there's photo with, executive board members of Georgetown Collaborative Diplomacy Initiative. As you know, I'm the president of Georgetown Collaborative Diplomacy Initiative from academic year 2019, 2020. And so Marta Sidoriak, she's first year Master of Science in Foreign Service. She is the General Secretary. She's really nice. She's smart. So I'm glad that she's part of us. Yeah. So I just wanted to share some photos. As you know, I'm at Georgetown. This is our, our classes are done, but I guess the final transcript is coming out on September 24th. I don't know what's taking them so long. A lot of courses are over, all our grades are in. Oh, I should give you a correction. My GPA at Georgetown is 3.53. Because I said it was 3.52, but it's actually 3.528. So if you round up, it's 3.53. So I mean, still A minus average, but I just want to remind you that I got an A minus average at Georgetown. Clinical Nurse Leader Master's Program. Yes, I'm one of the smartest ones in the cohort. Yay! Congratulations to me for getting over 3.5. Yay! There are a lot of smart people like Claire Paoletta in Falls Church. She's like one of the smartest, and Ying Fu McMillan, who's in Arlington. She's one of the smartest. So they're probably rank one or two, but they didn't give the speech though. But Senya Musa, our class rep, gave the speech, and it was great. And she's a great speaker, so I'm glad she did. But I love to know who the valedictorian is, who the salutatorian is, right? Who's rank one and rank two in our program? We don't know. Nobody knows really, because like our program director from the first year put a muzzle on us, like we're not supposed to talk about grades with each other. I don't know what the logic is. That what's up with that? What's wrong with sharing grades? I don't understand the logic. To be honest with you, but what can you do? We're out of there. We are out of there. We are out of there. We are out of Georgetown. Yay! CNL, 2020, 2020, CNL, Georgetown University, CNL cohort 2020. Yay! Yeah, it was hard 3 years. I love Georgetown. I worked hard. All of us worked hard. I assure you, every single one of us, 25 cohort members, thought that 2 years was 2 years of hell. I dare you to produce a single member from our cohort, CNL 2020, who did not think that 2 years of CNL 2020 was hell. Every one of us thought it was hell. Every single one of us. I mean, I could say that with utmost certainty because we talked about it again and again and again throughout the 2 years. Yes, it's a very hard program, but I'm glad I did it. I consider Georgetown Clinical Nurse Leader Program as #1 in the country. It's great to be trained by the best. I love my professors. I respect their expertise in nursing. But it was living hell. I assure you, you go to Clinical Nurse Leader Program, it's going to be living hell for 2 years, but it's going to make a leader out of you. That's why I recommend it. I recommend you apply to Georgetown Clinical Nurse Leader Program and do it, because you'll be a leader at the end of it. I'm a leader. I'm at the end of it. Yeah. Can I get a 5 on that? Can I get a 5 on that? All my cohort members, all my 24 cohort members, including me, we're 25. Yeah. We're like a family. We went through trial by fire, trial by hell. We went through and survived hell. I was thinking about making a shirt. We went through and survived hell, CNL 2020 Georgetown, sending it to all of my clinical nurse leader programs members. I was thinking about it. I may still do it, I don't know. I should do it before people start dying off, because, as I said, 5 to 10 will die before Christmas from clinical nurse leaders. So I should probably do that before people die. I mean, I could always send it to their family, so that they can remember their children by. But they can't take this away from you, right? Give me a 5 on that. You may die from COVID-19 before Christmas, but they cannot take this away from you. Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of exciting, to be done. Yeah, I'm excited about it. You look how happy Moose is. You see how happy Moose is? That's how happy I am. Yeah, but I want my final transcript. Geez, what's taking them so long, right? That's what all of us are thinking, critical nurse leader members. But all of us are working and preparing really hard for NCLEX RN exam. I took my CNL national certification exam, passed it on the first day of the exam period. So yeah, I blazed the trail for my fellow cohort members. So now, Professor Elizabeth Schloss is really proud of me. Professor Yearwood, Idima Yearwood was very proud of me. They said so in the email. So I'm not like, they said their congratulations. They're happy about that. Yeah, I heard from Professor Claire. She's one of our nursing professors. She's really nice. Professor Claire. She taught us healthcare maintenance. And Professor Teresa Claire, and she wrote on the email, "I am so proud of you, Heerak." And I was like, "Oh, that's so nice of you, Professor Claire, to say." she's a really, I mean, all of the nursing professors are very nice, but Professor Teresa Claire, she's really nice, you know, and you know, yeah, I mean, she experienced the tragedy while we had class. I think it was her mother who passed away, so we were all really sad for her, Professor Claire, and we wrote her a card, and I wrote, you know, I signed the card and wrote, you know, the card. Yeah, I mean, life is filled with tragedy. You know, people die, and she was so sad. I think she cried actually, if I remember correctly. You know, memory gets fuzzy. You know, even after like a year, memory sometimes get fuzzy, right? But yeah, I mean, I remember her fondly. You know how a lot of people say, "I want to be remembered well." There's meaning to that. I don't. Have you heard that saying before? I want to be remembered well. People want to be remembered well. Like people don't want to be remembered in a bad way. That's part of human experience. As you know, I'm a historian. I was professionally trained as a historian at UCLA. And one of the things that I see from history is people want to make a legacy for themselves, like people who are famous and great. And people want to be remembered well, like in a nice way, especially as people get older and older, or especially when people start nearing death. People want others to remember them in a good way, you know. But that's something that like is common in all human experience. People want to be remembered as a good person, you know. Um, and I'm sure that's how everybody feels, you know, at Georgetown. Like all my Georgetown University professors, they want to be remembered well. You know, I'm sure because that's how it is with everybody. And we have this COVID-19, you know, that's killing a lot of people. And you know, I'm sad to say, you know, every time I check my email, I'm worried. No, seriously, I'm worried because you know, I was worried like I'll get an email saying that one of my nursing professors died from COVID-19 this summer. I was like deathly afraid of that. You know, like every time I check Georgetown email, I mean, I wasn't deathly afraid, but every time I check my email, I was like afraid to receive an email saying, "Oh, we're sorry to let you know that Professor so and so passed away from COVID," or something. You know, um, I mean, we had a associate dean, Marianne Leones, pass away. She died of cancer this year. It was so sad. It devastated all of us at Georgetown, professors especially because they're you know they're friends. They've known each other for a long time. I met Professor Marianne Leones when I first arrived at Georgetown. You know, she's the first person I met and talked with, and she pointed me in the right direction. You know, like we talked about financing my nursing degree. I ended up borrowing $200,000, but it was worth it. You know, I'll pay it back. You know, through work. But I mean, if you're a billionaire who wants to pay back my nursing loans, please do. You know, don't let me stop you. You know, if there are some kind-hearted billionaires out there who want to write a check to pay my nursing loans off, please do, please. You know, but you know, you know because after you know interest, 30 over 30, it's like $500,000 I have to pay back. So yeah, so yeah, I mean, but you know, it's worth it to save lives, you know. But yeah, so I've known Professor Leon from the very beginning, and so yeah, it was very sad for me to hear about her death because I got to know her personally, you know, developed a personal relationship. So you know, I'm sure all of us 25 cohort members, including the nurse leader, will be devastated when we get an email saying, you know, Professor so and so died. You know, a professor who taught us. Um, but you know, that's bound to happen. You know, um, especially COVID-19. It's sad, but it will happen. You know, I mean, I think it will happen with every nursing program because my nursing professors still work in the hospitals. Like they may not work every day, but like they work like once a week, once every 2 weeks, while they're teaching classes. You know, so they could get COVID like in one of those times and die. Um, yeah, I mean, you know, five of us I'm predicting will die from COVID-19 before Christmas. So you know, I mean, these are uncertain times. A lot of people are gonna die. You know, what can you do? Um, yeah, but yeah, but um, like as I've shared, none of us, when all of us, there were 34 of us who were accepted into clinical nurse leader program, none of us thought that nursing would be a dangerous profession. I mean, it's like the safest profession in the world. But now with COVID-19, it's the most dangerous profession in the world. There's nothing more dangerous than being a nurse. Uh, and so I think that's kind of shocking a lot of my core members, 2020 CNL core members. I think that's the reason why many of them did not even start applying for a job. I think they're not in a rush to go and work. Because this is not what they signed up for, right? When they sign up for clinical nurse leader program, they're expecting to be nurse leaders in an environment that's 100% safe, where you could throw away a PPE after one use, like after using it like for 5 minutes. Now it's not like that. So I think they're experiencing like tragedy, personal tragedy. Some of them may be thinking like I've wasted 2 years of my life because they don't want to be in a dangerous situation. Like they have asthma, they know that they have a very high chance of dying if they start working during COVID. So it's like they could start working, but if they get COVID, they have high chance of dying. So I think some of them are regretting it. I think some of them are thinking like I should have gone into some other area had I known like COVID-19 was struck, but obviously they did not know. I went to the program expecting to be in danger. As I've written in my personal statement um, and shared, with Professor Idim Ayerwood and Elizabeth Schloss and other professors in my program. My goal in going to Georgetown to do a nursing degree is to provide health equity, health access to inner city Black neighborhoods and Hispanic neighborhoods, and also rural areas where there are a lot of white farmers are, where there's no access to healthcare or limited access to healthcare. And also to go to third world countries like India and Africa, Latin America, to set up like hospitals that are attached to Christian churches. So we have like, healthcare missions, kind of like Jesuit value of cura personalis, treating the whole person. You share the gospel and then you provide nursing care. There's a lot of places don't have hospitals. So, obviously I was signing up for danger, because in third world countries, if you work in, medical centers and stuff, it's kind of dangerous, there's a lot of diseases around. So, I mean, I knew I was getting into like a dangerous thing because of what I was planning to do. Setting up, medical centers, hospitals in like Peru and Mexico and, Chile and India and Africa, So, I mean, when you set up healthcare centers where there's no healthcare center, it's not very safe. There are a lot of risks. Um, you know, um, and so, I knew I was signing up for danger. So for me, COVID-19 is not that shocking. I'm like, yeah, I was signing up for danger. Hey, it's a different type of danger. Pandemic, obviously, it's far more dangerous. But still, I mean, I signed up for risking my life, setting up healthcare centers in risky areas like inner city. There's a lot of gunshots. You could die from a straight bullet working in their city. Um, so yeah, so I mean, I knew I was getting into risky areas, with danger to life going into nursing because that's what I was planning to do from the very beginning. But as far as I know, besides me, I don't think anybody else was signing up for that except Lauren Elwell. Lauren Elwell, she did 1 year of missions work with the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America at Madagascar. I think it's Madagascar. Yeah, she did it for 1 year with the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, ELCA. So she did like short-term missions with them. So I don't know if she has a desire to like go as a missionary with Evangelical Lutheran Church or not. We didn't really talk about like what she wants to do in the future. We both worked as certified nursing assistants. We kind of talked about that. And she's really nice, like the first boat cruise in 2018, we partied it up, you know, Lauren Ella and her boyfriend and her boyfriend's best buddy, they lived in a house together. And, they lived in the house together for 2 years. So, yeah, they're like really fun guys. So all three of us like really partied it up. Yeah, and she's a fun person, and so she has a good heart. She wants to help people. She was in Meta Gospel for 1 year. She took, 1 year doing missionary work for Lutheran Church. She's a Lutheran herself. She went to Christian college. I think she went to Indiana Wesleyan University. Um, it's not Lutheran, but Christians all connect. So especially Protestant Christians. So yeah, so I mean, she's Christian who loves the Lord, who wants to help people. Yeah, I mean, she's very pretty, very smart. Yeah, so she's probably heading back to India, Minnesota. She comes from a neighborhood, like she comes from the same city that Neela Whitaker comes from. There, we have two people from Minnesota, so I guess she's going back to Minnesota, to work at a hospital there. That's where her family is. Like everybody generally goes back home, right? Um, yeah, I'm sure we'll work together as nurses in the future if both of us survive COVID-19. This flu season is the scariest one, right? Because they still don't know. Like we don't know what to expect. Yeah, so this is going to be the worst flu season. Because COVID-19 is here forever, so people are going to keep dying. Next flu season after that. But once you go through it, you kind of know what to expect. But we haven't gone through a whole flu season. New York did not. New York was at the tail end, so they don't know what's going to come in the future either. They've never experienced the height of the flu season with COVID. It's going to be far worse. I'm predicting like 1 million people die in New York alone, New York State alone. Um, because yeah, you think Arlington is crowded? Have you been to New York? Yeah, that's why. Um, yeah, so and they have like 10 million people in the city. So a lot of people thought to catch COVID and die. But yeah, so like Laura and Elwell, yeah, we have some good people in our program. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's gonna be really sad when you get an email saying one of our professors died from COVID or one of our classmates died from COVID. Yeah, it's gonna be really sad. But I mean, it's unavoidable. It's gonna happen. So you gotta accept it. So I'm just gonna do a cheer for my clinical nurse leader members again. CNL, CNL 2020, CNL, Georgetown University, CNL, yay! Yeah, things are going to be really bad for the flu season. So I'm glad for China. China is like big brother. Korea has been a little brother for 5,000 years. There's no one dying in Korea either. So you know, but yeah, I'm glad for China that there no one's dying. But I'm just sad for America because so many of us are dying, and I'm American. I'm running for U.S. Congress of Virginia's 8th District to save America. So vote for me on November 3rd, 2020, so I can save you, America. Save you. You help me to help you, right? Yeah. So yeah, but America is beautiful. We have a lot of beautiful women. Look at the women behind me. They're all American. Yeah. Yeah, and we have more American women. Yes. Thank God. I personally believe American women are the most beautiful. Well, the Scandinavian women come very close. But we have Scandinavian women. Like in Minnesota, we have women from Finland, like Nila Whitaker. She's from Finland. Like her parents are from Finland. She's American, but like she's like Finnish American. Her parents, I think, actually immigrated from Finland. Um, and yeah, so I think she's like 100% Finnish. She's very beautiful. Yeah. I mean, she goes to Finland, she'll fit in. Uh, yeah, and yes, I mean, like they say, St. Olaf College is like all Scandinavian. I don't know. I've never been to St. Olaf, but I did see the show Golden Girls. Betty White, isn't she Scandinavian too? But yeah, it's a Lutheran college, Evangelical Lutheran Church of America College. Laura Nell was the nomination. So Yeah, I'm Presbyterian. I'm Korean Presbyterian. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of Christians. Wherever you go, majority are going to be Christians. That's just this is America. You know, and that was like that in clinical nurse leader program too. Majority of us were Christians. Are Christians. So yeah. Yeah, so I thank God for American women. American women are beautiful. Obviously, according to the Bible, you can only have sex with one woman because you're only supposed to have sex with your wife, and you're not supposed to get divorced. So you're usually supposed to have sex with your wife until you both die. I mean, you can remarry if your wife dies early, but hopefully that does happen, right? I mean, geez, yeah. Yeah, but American women are beautiful. I want to marry one of them. They're so beautiful. God, please send me one of them to marry, please. If you're one of the women who look like that out there, please email me. Let's go on a blind date. I'm just kidding. Or am I? No, I'm not kidding. Well, am I? I guess I'm supposed to. I'm kidding, but I'm not. Yeah. Can I get a 5 on that? I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I may die before Christmas. What's the point of lying to you? I mean, geez, it's COVID-19 America. Any one of us can die before Christmas. There's no point lying. I'm gonna tell you the truth. This is what I want. I want a woman who looks amazingly beautiful like that. Ideally. Unless I fall in love. Someone who doesn't look like that. But then I wouldn't care because I'd be madly in love with that person, right? And, as long as both of us feel the same way, And so, yeah. But anyway, yeah. Ideally, I want to marry somebody like that. It looks amazingly beautiful. But yeah. But COVID-19, we are facing a lot of death. As I said, some of our nursing professors may die before Christmas from COVID-19. None of them, all of them could live to 100. None of them should die before Christmas, but because of COVID-19, some of them may die before Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's unavoidable. It's a global pandemic. And so we're going to grieve, right? Some of us have begun to grieve in anticipation. And it's what's called anticipatory grieving, meaning we know that some people will die, so you start grieving even before it happens. And sometimes anticipatory grieving is healthy because it kind of prepares you emotionally, so it doesn't throw you off the rockers. Like when I found out Professor Marion Leon's died from cancer, it just shocked me, It came out of nowhere. I didn't know she had cancer. I guess her friends did, but professors don't always go and share what conditions they have, So I didn't know. And so I was just I just came out of left field. Yeah, so I was kind of like, oh, but I didn't really develop long relationship with her like I did with Professor Schloss. Like if Professor Schloss were to die from COVID, I'd be completely devastated. I mean, I don't think that would happen because she's the most physically fit professor at Georgetown University, not in the nursing school, but the whole university. She bikes to work, she bikes to school, every day. And she's physically fit. And really, and she's young, and so I don't think. I mean, anything could happen. Obviously, there are people dying at age 20, but yeah. And Professor Idima Yearwood, we all developed a really good relationship with her. So it'd be tragedy if she dies from COVID. I mean, she's young; she has good 20, 30 years to live. So, but this is COVID-19, she lives in this area, Northern Virginia. She just had a grandson or grandchild. Uh, yeah, and her son's here in this area in Fairfax County. So yeah, I think the grandchild was born in Fairfax Hospital. So this is our area. Yeah, and yeah, all the professors. I got an email from Professor Lashat. She's great. Professor Lashat taught us taught us maternity nursing. So, how to take care of a pregnant woman before, during birth, and after birth, and how to take care of the baby. So she's our mother and baby nursing professor, Professor Lashat, and she just retired. She retired after she taught us maternity nursing. We were her last class, so she gave away she gave all of us a gift, like the whole class. We were like the last class. She's so generous, kind-hearted, and I visited her in our office, and she was sharing me about her love of Star Trek. So her husband loves Star Trek, so she fell in love with him, and she fell in love with Star Trek. And so they go to Star Trek conventions together, and she showed me like her Star Trek outfit. She's amazing. And I really like Professor Lachat. She's a nice person. Um, I guess she's French, Lachat. I wonder if she's related to the French girl that I really like, that I was going to ask to the Hoya semi-formal, or actually it was a formal black tie. Hoya 50-year celebration. I am an opinion writer for Hoya, so I wrote healthcare columns for Hoya. Um, so since I'm an opinion, columnist, I was gonna go and to this, black tie affair, Hoya celebration, and I was gonna ask this beautiful French girl, you know, out. She's amazingly beautiful, and she wants to be a doctor. She has such a kind heart. And so yeah, but COVID-19 hit, so I couldn't ask her out. Oh well, what can you do, right? I was gonna ask her out, like, you know, yeah. It was like a month before the fall, you know, because I run into her sometimes, in the nursing school. So I was gonna just kind of like one of those times, just kind of casually, you know, ask her, you know. But yeah, but we couldn't go back to school after spring break. I was gonna do it right after spring break. What can you do? Life is like that. I wouldn't say, if the stars line up and if we were meant to be for us to like hook up and get married, we will, I guess. But I don't know. She's beautiful. She's like French. Her last name is really nice. I, if we ever get married, I'll probably tell her to keep her last name because I like her last name. Maybe I'll take her last name. I like Kim. I don't want to insult my parents, but I like her last name better. I wonder if it would be legal if I take my wife's last name. What's the law on that? I've never heard anybody do that, but I wouldn't mind. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, her. I mean, like if it's like a last name that's like really long, you know, I wouldn't want to do that. But her last name is really cool. Um, yeah, but anyway, yeah. Anyway, I guess it's bye. Well, she graduated too, 2020. We're both class of 2020. I'll probably never see her again. So sad. But she's going to be a doctor. So maybe I'll work as a nurse where she's a doctor. But we'll both be married to like other people by then, probably. But yeah, I mean, if we got married, I could like work as a nurse and then she go to medical school. I could like be at her emotional support. I mean, if she loves me, I don't know. It looked like we had a connection, but you never know with women. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Anywho, yeah, grieving stages. So yeah, I mean, Democratic convention day 3. There's a lot of COVID going on. I feel like Democratic Party is not sensitive about what we're experiencing. I don't know if you agree with me, but I get the feeling they don't really care about our suffering and the grief stage that we are going through as a nation. And it's a little bit, I don't know, it's just a little disturbing that a Democrat Party would not care. They don't seem to really, maybe it is that the Democratic Party as an entity is going through denial. They think like this is not happening. Why else would they not really talk about it that much today? You know, I mean, did you hear a lot of people talking about it? Actually, to be honest with you, I didn't really see anything today because I was picking up my class ring, George. But I got I read the feeds, from internet and stuff, but yeah, I was gonna like watch like Barack Obama's speech and stuff. I wrote a book about Barack Obama. I tweeted about that for those of you following me on tweet. Yeah, follow me on Twitter account. You get updates like regularly. But yeah, Heerak for Congress. Heerak #4 Congress. My Twitter account. But yeah, but I didn't get to see the speech. What can you do? uh, yeah, I'm calling. Yeah, I'm giving a nickname to Barack Obama. I'm calling him Huxtable because he looks like Mr. Huxtable. You know, so I'm calling him Huxtable. B dash Huxtable. Huxtable. Yeah. So if you go to my Twitter account, you'll see me coin that nickname for Mr. Barack Obama. Um, yeah, and I have like Mr. Huxtable's photo and side by side, or so you can see like they kind of look alike, especially the expression, like they have a similar expression, a photo that's like juxtaposed. But yeah, it seems like Democratic Party may be going through denial. So there's Kubler-Ross who came up with this idea that there are 5 stages of grief that people go through. And many of you will go through this because, either your child will die or your wife will die or, your mother will die or your cousin, you may not be very close with your cousin. Your professor may die that you love, someone may die. Uh, yeah, Professor Lashad, she's like, oh, I'm so glad everything worked out for you. And I love Professor Lashad. She's so nice. Almost. I mean, I would say all the nursing professors are nice. Some are nicer than others. Professor Lashad is like one of the nicer ones. Professor Elizabeth Sloss is probably the nicest one. We should do a class vote. Who's the nicest professor? I think Professor Schloss would win. I think. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, that's what people say too. Like I hear around me, my court members. Yeah, Professor Schloss is the nicest professor. Yeah, she's going to be remembered very well by all of us. Yeah, uh, yeah. I mean, she's not like she's going to pass away or anything. I mean, she's healthy. But we're going to keep remembering her in a good way. Yeah. So Kubler-Ross said initial reaction to tragedy or grief or sadness is to deny it. Like, oh, it's not happening. My child isn't dead from COVID. You know, or oh, my child did not get COVID, even though she's intubated. Like you're like in denial. And obviously different people have different levels of denial. Some go through denial in a more serious way than others. And that's why I'm trying to prepare you so that you don't go out of whack. If your child gets COVID and die, then you don't lose your mind. I'm trying to prepare you so you survive mentally through the tragedy. Because yes, we have tragedy at several levels, right? We have a tragedy in the sense that people can get COVID and die. But we have a tragedy in the sense that, let's say your loved one dies, and you may have a mental breakdown. You may kill yourself. You may kill other people. And I'm trying to prevent that from happening. So I'm trying to prepare you mentally for what's coming. Because I think whenever we are prepared for anything, physically, mentally, we have higher chance of doing better, surviving it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to save you and your children from COVID-19, not just physically, but mentally. Yeah, because I don't want you to try to blow yourself away, right? I took care of a woman. She's Baptist, and I might have shared this with you in the previous episode. She tried to blow her head out, commit suicide with a gun, and she missed. Oh no, that's someone else. She shot herself in the heart, but she missed. I'm thinking about someone else that I talked about with my nursing professor, who took care of me at that time. Yeah, so yeah, as you know, I was a clinical nurse leader. I mean, a CNA. I was trained as a certified nursing assistant, and so yeah, so um, yeah, so so she was sharing about this guy who tried to blow his head off and he missed. So half of his face was gone or like damaged that they had reconstructed. And after that, he didn't want to die. So he lived the rest of his life. I mean, he's still, I don't think he's dead yet. Still, he's living his rest of his life with like half of his face blown off. Takes like a lot of medications. Yeah, it's not a good situation. But the woman that I took care of, she tried to commit suicide and she shot herself, I think in the torso or her chest. She missed her heart. She meant to like shoot herself in the heart, but she missed her heart and like, so she was, you know, so she's Baptist, you know. You know, as I said, you know, if you successfully kill yourself, then you're in hell. The fact that she failed in her attempt to kill herself proves that she's probably truly born again. Because God's not going to let you kill yourself if you're truly born again. If you successfully kill yourself, then you probably weren't, you either lost your salvation or you weren't born again in the first place. Because Bible says you can fall away. So, yeah. But anyway, so we got to talk and she shared about her faith and like the struggle she went through and her, you know, she went through tragedy, you know, and it's grief that kind of triggered that process. You know, that's why, because I've had that experience with that patient, that's why I kind of pay attention to you. I know that some of you will attempt suicide when your child dies from COVID-19. I mean, evidence-based literature shows that some parents attempt suicide when their children die, especially when it's like traumatic or tragic. And COVID-19 is tragic and traumatic because there are several things about COVID-19 which is really horrible. Let's say your child gets COVID-19, she goes to ICU, you won't be able to see her. So you will never be able to say goodbye in person. So it's going to be like 10,000 times worse, you know, because you know she's in ICU, intubated, right, in Virginia Hospital Center or at Children's National Hospital. And you know your child is fighting for her life, but you are forbidden to go to the hospital because of COVID-19. So every day you don't know whether she's alive or dead. You can't keep calling the hospital. Can you imagine the mental anguish and suffering you're going to experience? You can't go to the hospital, and hospital cannot keep updating you. Every second you're wondering if your child is dead. And this could drag on for months. And your child may not die, but your child could die. Let's say your child died after 2 months. And you haven't been able to see her for 2 months because she's intubated. Can you imagine what that would be like to your psyche? You can't even begin to imagine it. So I would be surprised if there are a lot of people in Virginia's atheists who try to kill themselves after that happens. Because it's one thing to lose your parents. I think most moms can handle losing their own mom because they've known them all their life. You know, like if they're 40 years old, if the mom is 40 years old, they've known their mom for 40 years, you know? And they may not remember like when they're 1 year old, but they remember like 30 years of it. So it's not like, yes, you love your mom, but you know your mom, you've had a relationship with your mom, you know, so yes, you're sad, but losing your child is different. Let's say your child is like in 5th grade. You know, I'm a 5th grade teacher at Savoy Elementary School in an Anacostia neighborhood, which is 100% Black students. And so, you know, I know how the parents are and how they relate to their kids. And, you know, it's that time when the kids are kind of entering, you know, preteen, you know. You know, parents, they kind, you know, they're kind of like, the kids are beginning to become rebellious, you know, until like 3rd grade, 5th grade, they're not that rebellious, you know, maybe some start in 3rd grade, but, you know, it's like a transition period. And you see the parents and, you know, you see, obviously they love them, but, you know, they're struggling with like the rebellion that's starting, you know, so it's like an interesting age. So let's say you have a 5th grader who gets intubated two months. I don't know any of my parents, the parents of my students, who could stand to not talk to their children daily. I don't know a single one out of all my students. I don't know, maybe you know people. But fifth grade, that's like a special time. They could talk and communicate, express their own thoughts and opinions. So parents love that time. Like you get to talk to your child, and because once you become like high school teen, they don't want to talk to you. But when you're fifth grader, all you want to do is talk to your mom. So the moms love that stage. Um, so yeah, so like let's say you have a fifth grader, and your child gets intubated after getting COVID-19. It's gonna happen to a lot of fifth graders. Um, you can't talk to her, you can't see her, she can't see you. I mean, she's intubated. She's probably unconscious. She's probably in induced coma. You don't know when she's going to die. And she finally dies. Yeah, I could see some of you trying to kill yourself. Some of you may try to stab yourself to death with your kitchen knife. Some of you may take like sleeping pills. Some of you, may jump off your apartment building from like 5th floor, 10th floor. Yeah, I could see that happening. Some of you may, drive your car into a wall. Yeah, I could see all of that happening, because the problem is this: it's not just that your child died, right? Your child died, and you had this long process of not being able to see your child. So you're going to be emotionally kind of a wreck. And that's why I think this flu season is very, very dangerous flu season. A lot of children will die. We don't know what's going to happen with the parents. Yeah, I mean, I'm really worried about that. But obviously, that's why I'm saying keep the churches open. Churches kind of ground you in tragic times. Churches buffer you. Yes, people could get COVID while going to church, but we need to keep the churches open, because not keeping the churches open can end up in exponential tragedy that our nation may not be able to handle. So yes, it's better to keep churches open. Even with the risk through COVID, we must keep the churches open. Not just for Christian reason, obviously we should worship Jesus, but for the mental health of our nation, we must keep our churches open. Because churches are free. You don't have to pay for it. Church is always there. Every Sunday you could go there. So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm predicting dozens of suicides by parents in Arlington County alone after their children dies. And you can never predict who's going to commit suicide. Because like women who seem strong, sometimes when a tragedy hits, those women are the first women to like kill themselves. Yeah, strong women who you think will never fall, when they experience an epic tragedy, yeah, they're the first ones to kill themselves. And same with men. Like men who you think are like invincible, they experience epic tragedy, they kill themselves. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think weaker people, are afraid to kill themselves, so they won't. But stronger people are the ones you have to worry about. People who are like, who you look at and say, wow, that person's a strong person. Those are the ones who are going to probably kill themselves. Because weak people, you have to have a certain amount of strength to kill yourself. So like really weak people, they're not going to kill themselves. Yeah, but we're going to have a lot of parents killing themselves in COVID-19. Especially if all 3 children die. You have 3 children, like 2nd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, all of them die from COVID. All of them are intubated. You cannot see any of them for months when they're in the hospital with the intubation. Machine is breathing for them and you don't know what's going on. Yeah, can you imagine? This is going to happen. We're not talking about fiction here. We're talking about reality. This will happen. Yeah. And so I think the Democratic Party is on denial. They think like COVID-19 doesn't exist. This is why I don't believe in the liberal media. They always like try to live outside of reality. Reality is here, people. And now Heerak Christian came independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia 8th District. I live in the real world. I care about you in the real world where COVID-19 is killing over 1,000 people every day. I live in the real world, And I want to help you in the real world. I don't live in the fake world. I don't live in fake news, right? I live in the real world. And you live in the real world. And that's why I'm the best person to be your congressman representing you to solve the problems of America because I live in the real world. I don't live in the fake world. But Democratic Party seems to be in serious denial. All they do is blame Trump. We're like, do you want to really hear all that junk? I mean, to be honest with you, I'm like, why can't you like tell us the things that you're going to do for us? You know, the first night, I was thinking like, all you do is attack Trump. I mean, you're like haters. You don't care about us. You just hate Trump. You want us to vote for you because you hate Trump. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that how you feel? I just felt a little weird that so many people are attacking Trump. I mean, you know, they're acting like COVID-19 doesn't exist. You know? Second stage of grieving process is anger. So you're like, why is this happening to me, God? Why? Why are 3 of my children, second grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, all in the hospital with COVID with tube down their throat? But see, if the churches are open, you can actually go to the church and pray and say, why God? You know, and that can preserve your mental health, right? But if churches are closed, because Gavin Newsom, California government, closes churches down, then there's nowhere for you to go and start yelling to God and trying to come to terms with tragedy you've experienced, right? Churches are absolutely necessary for mental health of America. So we have to keep them open. There are certain risks you have to take, kind of like we have to have buses running. Yes, bus drivers can get COVID, but we need buses to run, right? Yes, farmers will die. I filled out my Virginia Farmer Association questionnaire, you know, because I'm running for U.S. Congress of Virginia State District. Everybody wants to know what I think about everything. So Virginia Farm Bureau or Virginia Farm, I forget the name of, sorry, I don't want to offend you. Still vote for me. But Virginia Farm, you know, the Farm Association of Virginia. I forgot the technical name. They sent me an email saying, you know, can you fill out a candidate questionnaire? So I did. And one of the questions they asked me was, you know, how would you, you know, if you're elected as a U.S. Congressman, how would you develop the communication, like internet infrastructure in rural areas? And, yeah, that's the kind of thing I want to do, you know? So I wrote about that. And another thing is like, you know, how do you propose like providing workers for farms? Because, because of COVID-19. So I wrote about that. So I'm here for you, farmers. You know, vote for me. Support me. I'll be there for you. Yeah. So I mean, it's farmers are necessary. We need food, and I wrote that on the survey. If we don't have food chain, our nation is going to be destroyed. I tweeted that to President Trump as well. We need to keep the food chain open at all costs. I tweeted that in March and April. And also to Secretary of Agriculture, Purdue. Sonny Purdue. I tweeted out to him. I'm trying to look out for you. I want to save you and your family from COVID-19 death. Part of that is keeping the food chain open. So I'm going to do what I can to make sure, I do my part to keep it open. I'm a national leader in the United States, and I'm going to be representing you and leading for you, Obviously, I would like to do it at an official capacity in U.S. House of Representatives after you vote me in on November 3rd. But, I'm a leader, national leader, So I tried to fight for, But anyway, it's in the same way that we need all these people to work, even if people get COVID and die, we need churches open. Yes, some pastors are going to get COVID and die. Yes, some elders are going to get COVID and die. Yes, some deacons are going to get COVID and die. Yes, some people are going to go to church, going to get COVID and die. But we need to keep the churches open. One, because obviously for religious purpose, God wants us to worship him at his home, his house. But not only that, we need the churches open because there's a social need for Americans. Americans need a church socially. Not only that, Americans need the church psychologically and mentally. Because a lot of people are going to die. Um, why do you think there was massive violent protest burning of police cars? Part of it is because idiotic Democratic governors closed down the churches. They didn't have anywhere to go to let out steam. So it's like bottleneck. People were getting bottled up and they let it out in the streets, burning police cars. Everybody. If you want to prevent that, Governor Newsom, Governor Cuomo, Governor Northam, you need to keep the churches open. How are you going to manage all the violence that could come? Right? Keep the churches open. Yeah, I'm trying to help you, because you won't be able to manage it if society explodes, because they have no outlet to express their sorrow. I mean, they're going to be angry when their child dies. They're going to be angry at all kinds of stuff. If churches are open, their anger can be reduced, minimized, or even neutralized. Yeah, second stage of grieving process is anger. Third stage is kind of bargaining, negotiating. God, if you will save my 3 children, second, fourth, fifth graders from COVID-19, that they're all intubated in NICU, new intensive care unit, then I will give you 10% of everything I make until I die, for example. God doesn't generally save children with those promises. I'm going to let you in a secret because I'm here to save your life and your children's life. So I study history of Christianity and I know cases where God saved people's lives. And there are promises that parents make that generally work. Yeah. And the promise is, I'll just come out and tell you because, you need to know because if this is one option you have. Because God may save you if you say you give 10%, but you're supposed to give 10% anyway. It's not a very good transactional demand. You gotta give something more than what you're supposed to give God, You're always supposed to give God 10%. So God's not gonna save your children's life if you're telling him you're gonna give him what you're supposed to give him. You gotta give him far more than what you're supposed to give him. You don't save your children. It's a transactional deal. God has to get something to give you something, And this is in the Bible. So in the history of Christianity, where we have these cases where children are about to die, examples that we have where children survived are examples where the parents said, if my son survives COVID-19, I will make him into a priest. I'll raise him to be a priest in the Catholic Church or pastor in the Presbyterian Church. People who made those promises, there are many, many, many examples throughout 2,000 years of Christianity where God saved the person's life. It could be some kind of tragedy. But obviously, you have to keep your promise. Because there are cases where the parents did not keep their promise and the son became a businessman and then God took his life. Like he died in a plane crash, like at age 23, 24. After he became a millionaire, in some cases like age 30. God will take what his own, So so you need to know if you're going to make a deal with God, you can't go back on a deal because if you go back on a deal, God will take the life that he originally gave you. That happens a lot in Christian history. I've examples after examples of that too, because God is mean, as I told you. God is mean. If you go back out on a deal, God's going to take God's not only going to take your child's life that he originally gave you, God may take your husband's life. God's mean. I'm telling you. God is very mean. Don't mess with God. You tell God you're going to do something, you better do it. Let me give you an example from the New Testament. Because you think, oh, maybe that's an Old Testament God. It's not a New Testament God. No, this is a New Testament God. God is God. Old Testament, New Testament, same God. But you may be thinking God's different. God's not different. In the New Testament and Book of Acts, Ananias and Sapphira, they're like deacons in the church, leaders in the church. They said they were going to give God like what they sold. And then they did not. And the Holy Spirit came and killed them in the church. Yeah, and this was recorded in the Bible, in the book of Acts. You read the book of Acts. God is mean, I tell you. Like, you make a promise, you better keep it. God's going to take your life or your children's life. Yeah, God's like that. God's very mean. And this is like in New Testament and Old Testament. You make a promise to God, you better keep it. It's very important. But having said that, you can promise God, I will dedicate my son to the church like Samuel's mom, Hannah, did, and make him into a priest. But you better make sure you make him into a priest. This guy's going to kill your son and maybe even kill your husband if you don't keep your promise. So don't make a promise if you don't think you can keep it. Because, God is pretty cruel. God is very mean. And he created the hell where he's torturing people who don't believe in Jesus Christ for eternity. That's how cruel God is. Yeah, that's who God is. That God is cruel. Now, so after bargaining, people go into depression. They're like, oh, no. I'm so depressed. My children are in ICU. So you go through depression. And according to Kubro laws, eventually you accept the fact your children will die. I'm sure you will not be laughing like that. Harry's are looking at me like, why does that acceptance have smile in the face? You can't smile when 3 of your children die from COVID. Yeah, that's not my graph. I would not have put a smile in there. But because there can be no time where you can be happy with your grief. So whoever put a smile on that green face is an idiot. Yeah, just stating the obvious. Because when 3 of your children die from COVID, you're not going to be happy. You're never going to be happy until you die. So why is there a smiley face? Right? Why? Yeah. But as I said, I didn't. That's not my graph. I'm just borrowing it. Yeah. But eventually you have to accept that your child is dead. So this Kubler-Ross, stage of the grief is not perfect. I don't agree with it 100%. As a Christian, I don't think grief follows that stage necessarily. But obviously we have to learn it for our nursing exams, and for our NCLEX RN exam. So you can see I was studying that today. It helps us to understand and discuss the issue of grief. So as a discussion, as a springboard to discussion about grief, I think it's helpful. Obviously, I would love to marry one of those beautiful women, like the one in that red bikini. Oh, that's like perfect for me. If you look like that, please email me. Let's go on a blind date. Oh, you can be my wife. We'll do great things together. She looks like that. The French girl that I was gonna ask out to Hoya banquet. She looks like that. So yeah, that's why but you've seen photos of the women I've gone out with before, so yeah, I like beautiful women. All I need is one woman to marry and have sex with the rest of my life with, to pleasure to be there for, I just need one woman who has to be a Christian, obviously, But and that should be what you should have as well, right? You should only have sex with one person for the rest of your life, with your wife, right? You should not be having sex with anybody who's not your wife. Right? I'm stating the obvious from the Word of God, but it needs to be stated again and again because some people forget, right? Yeah. So, and women, don't have sex with anybody before you're married. Don't be an idiot. Don't be a hoe. Don't be a slut. Don't be a whore. Because that's what your husband's not going to think of it. he's marrying you, but that's why your boyfriend's thinking of you. She's nothing but a whore. Yeah, why don't you have a big fight? He will probably call you a whore. Because he's getting free sex from you, but he's not paying anything. You're paying, what, half the rent? I mean, he has no respect for you inside, and he pretends like he has respect. You know, obviously, if he respected you, he'd have married you. Right? Obviously, he doesn't respect you. That's why he didn't marry you again. So, you know, I want you to be happy. I don't want you to live in a lie. You need to understand how men think. All men, like 99.9%. I like to say 100, but just in case there's an exception. Yeah. Don't let any boy have sex with you before marriage. I mean, that's like being a whore. No man respects the woman he has sex with unless she's his wife. I mean, geez, that's like ABC of being a man. No man respects the woman that he has sex with unless she's his wife. The only reason he respects her is because she put a ring on him, right? He's her slave now. There's a ring. That's the only reason he respects her, because she dominated him, she domesticated him. No man respects the woman that he has sex with. No man. No man. That's why there are these like ugly guys who chase after girl for like 5-6 months, you know, doing everything, and then the moment they have sex, he treats her differently because he doesn't respect her anymore. That's how guys are. Guys are like that. And I'm speaking for people who just turned 18 who watch this show. I encourage people only above 18 to watch this show because we talk about adult topics. But you know, I want you to know what life is like. You're gonna have sadness and tragedy in your life if you have sex before marriage. Because even the man who loves you, the moment he has sex with you, he's not gonna respect you. That's just the way guys are. They don't even know why they feel that way. It's biological. Anthropologists have written on it, sociologists have written on it, psychologists have written on it, trying to understand this phenomenon. You know, there are different theories about it, but I'm telling you, the most important thing for you to know is that's a fact. That's how men are. A man who loves you will wait to have sex with you until you have a ring on your finger. That's just how men are. Yeah. So, yeah, if the guy says, oh, let's have sex to just try it out and see if we're compatible for each other, obviously he's going to say that because he wants you to be his whore. I mean, every guy uses that line, for God's sake. It's a line. Every guy. I mean, they don't teach each other. It's just instinctively born because guys want to have sex and use you as his whore. So they want to say whatever they need to do to have sex with you, to make you into his whore. I mean, if you're stupid, you're going to buy that line. If you're a smart woman, you won't have sex with any man until you're married. Because you know every man does not respect the woman who has sex with him. You know that. Why? Because Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress, who's an alpha male, who told you so. I told you the truth. And truth shall set you free. So help you God. Can I get a 5 on that? Can I get a 5? Generation Z women, Generation Y. Well, Generation Y women, you're probably too late. You're probably already a whore of some kind. Sorry to say, but I'm just telling you that like it is. If you don't like to hear the truth, you can't handle the truth. You know, Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men. If you didn't see the movie A Few Good Men, you should see it. Jack Nicholson is really brilliant actor in that movie. If you can't handle the truth. You know, oh yeah, you have to see that. Jack Nicholson is great. He kind of looks like a Joker though, right? Like when he smiles, he has like a Joker face. And I think, did he play Joker in one of the Batman movies? Yeah, you gotta see that episode with, you know, Jack Nicholson is a great actor. You know, it's, you know, all of his movies are classic. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Obviously, I created this show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak, to save you from COVID-19 death and your children as well. And also anything else that's around it, right? And so I recommend you listen to my advice and take it, but obviously you're not a slave, you're free, you do what you want. But remember, whatever decision you make, you have to live with the consequences, right? That's part of life. It's and there's a lot of sin in the world, and there's a lot of sadness and illness and sorrow because of sin, right? That's why when you follow the Word of God, you read it, you follow it. You don't need anybody to explain it to you. Just read the Bible and follow what the Bible says. You will have much happier life, right? Like if you follow the Bible, it says not commit adultery and not have sex with anybody until you get married. No man's going to disrespect you like you're a whore. You're a whore. Every man you have sex with, they think you're a whore. Obviously, I mean, geez. I mean, this is like a fact in the male's world. All men understand this to be absolute truth. Yeah, so, don't be a whore, Just follow the Bible. Don't have sex before marriage. Then men will respect you. Men respect Ave Maria. Because she's virgin. Men respect virgins. Yeah. Men try to take virginity away, then they will no longer respect the non-virgin. But men respect virgins, yeah. Even whatever they say, I'm talking about what's truly in the heart. That's why Maria, Ave Maria. That's why all men respect Maria. She's a virgin, Virgin Mary. Woman's power is in not having sex with men. That's where women's power is. That's why all the Vestal virgins in the Roman Empire were supposed to remain virgins. And this is not Christianity, it's like Vestal virgins in the Roman religion. Because virginity is woman's power. The moment that a woman gives up virginity, she's lost her woman's power. This is not just in the Christian tradition. This is in the Greco-Roman tradition. Princess Goddess Diana, right? Vestal virgins. This is in the Buddhist tradition. This is in the Hindu tradition. This is in the Muslim tradition. Virginity is woman's power. The moment woman loses virginity, she has lost her power. It's in every tradition. Religious tradition, cultural tradition. Yeah, as I said, every male who is born doesn't have to have anything explained to him. They instinctively know this to be absolute truth. It's biological. It's programmed into male DNA. So I'm here to help you achieve your happiness because I want you to have long and happy life, right? Yeah. So So the ball is in your court now. I throw the ball to you, telling you what the facts are. You do what you want, right? You're not a slave. You do what you want, but you have to, whatever you do, you have to suffer the consequences or reap the joy. Right? Get that ring on that finger, you'll be reaping the joy. Yeah. So not all women can pull it off. It's hard. Men don't want to be domesticated. Yeah, it's hard. I understand. But anyway, yeah. But I'm happy to be here to give you guidance and wisdom. I'm the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century. Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia's 8th District. That's why I'm running for Congress, right? To solve the problems of America that needs to be solved. Because I'm the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century. That's why you need me there. Yeah. I mean, it's a sacrifice on my part, Ryan. Think about it. Going to Congress, devoting myself to solving your problems of the nation, right? It's a sacrifice, but I'm willing to make it. But so vote for me, if you want me to solve the problems of America. I mean, don't vote for me if you don't. My value is in the fact that I'm a truly born again Christian who believes that Jesus is the only way to salvation. I'm going to heaven. Nothing is higher than that. So, you know, but anyway, yeah. So, yeah. Well, thanks for joining me today. I'm happy to see you. I'm sure you're happy to see me. And yeah, so I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow and tell everybody to watch this episode because we all need to try to help each other, right? And we all need to ensure that we don't have 25 million Americans die this winter because that could happen. So yeah, tell everybody to watch this show. You know, your family members, adult children, your relatives, you know, coworkers, neighbors, and yeah, let's you know let's work hard to achieve what we can, you know, as a people, to do good and to survive COVID, recognizing that it's God who created the world, you know, and we are nothing without Him, right? That's something that we should recognize. So yeah, God is great, you know, God is good. God is good all the time. Yeah, so I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So I'll bid you adieu for now. See you tomorrow. Bye.